This is Akashvani. Time for a weekly program, Our Guest. I hand over the mic to the show host, Nitish Arora, for the same.
Welcome everyone to our guest, and we are very privileged to have Supriya Devasthali, Director Ease of Doing Business, with us in today's our guest. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ease of doing business. The focus of current government, and I think rightly so, is on generating business rather than looking for employment in traditional sectors. That was a big challenge, and how far we have come up. How does this department works for ease of doing business?
Thank you for taking up this important topic for discussion. Since 2014, Government of India has been making a lot of efforts to improve business environment, and this improvement is across the states, not just for the Government of India, but across the states improving business environment. Now, why should we get into this idea of ease of doing business? The logic behind this is businesses should be able to devote their time, their energy, their resources on core business rather than spending and wasting their time and resources on procedures, on complex compliances, etc. So ease of doing business is basically helping businesses to do their core business effectively and efficiently. And how do we then try to enhance ease of doing business? We work with the central ministries, we work with industry associations, we work with states also to find out what are the pain points. And then we try to work towards those pain points so that businesses can concentrate all their energies on the business itself.
So 2014, you said that was the challenge which came to you, and the Government of India decided that we have to deliver to the businessman to do business easily. A decade of good work. So what were the pain points that you analyzed and have got rid of?
Yeah, so in 2014, we consciously, Government of India decided to give a lot of attention to the World Bank ranking of ease of doing business. World Bank used to rank approximately 190 countries on ease of doing business, and India's rank in 2014 was about 142. And in 2019, our rank improved to 63, which is a big jump. Huge jump.
In 5 years only.
5 years. And we analyzed their methodology, and then we started working with the state government, central ministries on this. I will give a very simple example. Let us say that an electricity connection is required for any businesses. And it is not just business, but even households. People like us, if we change the house, we need to have an electricity connection. Now, for getting electricity connection, what are the documents that you have to submit? One would be your own identity, and the other is proof of ownership or proof of residence. So if you look at it carefully, it's only these two type of documents which are sufficient for obtaining electricity connection. But we observed that there are many other documents which are being asked for by the government departments while giving electricity connection. So we sat with them, we analyzed whether the connection can be given with just these two documents without making any compromise with the requirements. And then we realized that yes, only these two documents may be sufficient to give the electricity connection. So this is just one example. So reducing the paperwork, the number of documents that need to be submitted, point number one. Another is digitization of processes. You don't have to physically go to any particular office or a department, but you can apply online. You can also track the status of your application. Sometimes you need to pay fees for your application. Can you pay those fees also online? So we analyzed processes in this manner by keeping certain principles in mind. And then we started working with the central government ministries as well as state governments for improving these things or for making changes in these procedures and simplifying them.
So from 143 rank in 2014, we jumped to 63. So how many such cliche areas were there that you got rid of in those 5 years? And I think the process is still going on. What is the present ranking?
Yeah, so in 2019, World Bank has suspended the further rankings, and now World Bank has developed a new framework which is called Business Ready, which would be similar to the previous framework, but we still do not know whether they will be ranking countries. They may just come up with the country report rather than the ranking. That we do not have clarity on that right now. However, coming back to India's improvement in the ease of doing business ranking, we worked on reforms which covered the entire business life cycle. Now, what do we mean by business life cycle? It's from starting a business till the insolvency proceedings. If a business is being closed, then the insolvency proceedings. Now, when one starts the business, one has to register the business, say as a limited liability partnership or as a company or sole proprietorship, whatever. So that is starting a business. When you want to start the business, you also need, if it is a factory, then you need factory approvals. Basically, you need a property where the factory can come up. You need electricity connection, utilities are required, you need a credit. Then you also, sometimes there are import-export activities. Then you also have disputes. Sometimes there are contracts with service providers, so there may be some commercial disputes. So dispute resolution mechanism is important. You also need to pay multiple kinds of taxes to the government, file returns for those taxes, and insolvency. So there are 10 areas in which we worked with the central ministries, and I would be very happy to mention one or two milestone kind of achievements in this period. One would be in Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, which came into operations in 2016, which is a very important achievement in terms of insolvency proceedings. Another example that I would like to give is form, which is called as Spice E Plus. This particular form was instituted by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. This is basically for business registration. And this particular form incorporates many other services like obtaining PAN, obtaining bank account, obtaining GST number, etc. So that particular form drastically reduced the number of days that are required for the registration of businesses. So some of these are milestone achievements in this period of 2014 to 2019.
Is it like getting rid of, there was a term which was very infamous, red tapeism. Is it the process of doing away with the red tapeism? How
Yes,
far
definitely.
we have come up?
Yes, definitely doing away with red tapeism, because when we loosely use the term red tapeism, we mean delays. We sometimes also mean lack of transparency. We also mean lack of accountability. Also, sometimes grievance redressal is not effective. So we worked on all these aspects. Transparency automatically comes in place when you have online forms, online information available. When you give the permission to submit the documents also online, you are saving on the time of people in visiting the departments, also making copies, etc. of documents. If you can scan them and email them or upload them, you don't need to take copies of that. So that way we are reducing time, we are efficiently using our resources. At many departments, we have grievance redressal system, so that if there are help centers, so that people, if they have any difficulty, if they have any doubts, they are addressed through these centers. So we definitely worked very hard and effectively on the aspect of red tapeism.
And how has that been reflected in the business scenario as such? If we look at the overall business scenario of India, is this very encouraging? Are we having more youngsters, more innovators coming in and trying to do business, establish business? How is that
I think
improved?
that horizon is also very optimistic and very encouraging, I must say. Numbers speak for themselves. If we look at the startup registrations, if we look at the number of unicorns that we have, if we look at the foreign investment that is coming in India in last few years, and also the domestic investment in multiple sectors, I think the business environment across the country has been very effective in encouraging all these important indicators.
And do we have a window wherein the young businessmen and the new businessmen, they have come up and they now also list some more difficult areas to do business? And is there like interactive thing which is happening between the ministries, your department and the businessmen?
Yes, so we regularly hold stakeholder consultations wherein industry is invited, wherein concerned ministries are invited. We also have some joint working groups or task force with industry associations. They may be general industry associations or they are some sectoral industry association also. So for some specific sectors like say food processing or electronics industry or white goods industry, we have some sector specific groups also wherein we listen to their concerns. We also call concerned ministries in that platform. We discuss the issues threadbare and then start working on that. So we have regularly, we are holding stakeholder consultations to understand the problems
Nothing
and
like
the
a
pain
chat
points.
bot wherein somebody can like put in their question and directly get an
Yeah,
answer?
so
or-
there are chatbots by some respective departments, but we in our department, because we have to promote industry and internal trade, we also have to work with respective ministries. So though we don't have our own mechanism for this, we work with respective ministries for their platforms.
And the ministries also approach you for easing out on certain areas?
Yes, if they take any initiatives, they let us know about it because we can disseminate that information to the industry. If one particular ministry is facing any issue with some other ministry also, because there is interdependence of ministries, then that is also taken up with us. And then we have this tripartite discussion where two different ministries will be there, we will be there. We will raise industry's concerns and then we try to work towards an optimal solution to the problem.
Does the atmosphere of doing business varies from state to state, or on board this whole thing, the ease of doing business is reflected on board all over India?
It does differ from state to state for multiple reasons. One is sometimes the geographical situation is different in different states. Sometimes the availability of resources in the states is different. So you cannot really compare state of Maharashtra or Gujarat with the northeastern states. Plus, the kind of investments that come, the sectors in which investments come in those states are also different. For Northeast, it is horticulture, which is important. Food processing is important, whereas heavy industries are more important, or say pharmaceuticals are more important for states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, etc. So definitely there is a difference in the business environment in different states, but we work with states on certain principles. Like I already mentioned, there has to be a transparency in processes. All the information that business would need related to approvals, etc., has to be available on the single window system of that particular state. So we work with states on these principles, irrespective of the sectors which are important for that particular state or irrespective of the investment that comes to that state.
And the foreign businessmen, they are coming to India. I think that is also very amply reflected. But are we satisfied with the kind of investments that are coming from the foreign for doing business, or we're still working areas on that?
I think for an aspirational country like India, which wants to reach the 5 trillion economy size and wants to be a developed nation,
which is a guarantee for the next 5 years.
in line with the Viksit Bharat and the Atmanirbhar Bharat vision of the Honorable Prime Minister, I think we should never be happy with what we have. We should always strive for better things. And that is why we keep our work with respective ministries and even industries for attracting investments and making India an attractive investment destination.
Which means you must have outlined the grey areas where we still need to work on.
Yes.
Can you list a few that what are the areas we are working in for another 5 years or so?
So we would continue to work on the transparency aspect. We would also continue to work on digitization as well as digitalization. There are 2-3 areas which are very important, I think, in next few years. One would be to assess the inefficiencies in the system. So if I'm supposed to give a permission to a business in 10 days and if I don't give it for 30 days, then that business is losing out on resources, losing out on some opportunities. So that cost that businesses have to incur has not been analyzed very systematically all these years, but we would be paying more attention to that. So if we just ensure that all the permissions are given to the businesses in time, a lot of cost will be saved for businesses. So efficiency of the systems which are already in place, that is very important.
So raising the accountability of the government also.
And assessing the cost that businesses have to incur to remain compliant with the government regulations. And if we can deal with that cost.
So lots that we have done in the last decade, and there is a lot more still to be done. But frankly speaking, India has actually taken lead in many respects now. What are those areas wherein we think that we have taken lead and the rest of the world is following us? Now, it's not the time when we used to follow the world, but now we are the trendsetters. Can you enumerate a few of them? We are losing out on time. We don't have much time.
I think we have, in terms of a skilled manpower, I think we are doing excellent in last few years. In terms of innovations, if you look at recently the report was published wherein we have had, I should say, revolutionary number of patents registered. So we are doing very good on the innovation front. We also, I think, are trying very hard in terms of Make in India, wherein we are trying to attract investors to manufacture things here rather than just the assembly work over here. I think these are some of our biggest achievements on this front.
So the atmosphere in India to do business is the right atmosphere, and this is the right place to be in. And I hope that anybody who's listening, they must now explore the areas from where you can generate business and do business, be productive, and be happy, good for everyone.
Yeah, and contribute to Viksit Bharat.
Contribute to Viksit Bharat. Thank you so much, Supriya ji.
Thank you.
You were listening to the weekly program Our Guest that is broadcast every Monday at 9:15 a.m. Have a nice day.